You're listening to Wickendon with Ash and Josh.
Welcome back to the Rein pod with Ash and Josh. It's episode 11 now.
It is. We're making moves.
We're nearly hitting that number 21 target.
Was it 21 or 25?
I think it was 21. And then top 1% of podcasters.
Yeah.
But I'd like to announce on this podcast, we are the number one equestrian podcast out there. So, yeah.
Is that statistically correct?
I don't know. I believe it to be a fact, so there we are.
Well, welcome back to the number one equestrian podcast, foundated equestrian podcast. And if you are listening, make sure you go over to YouTube and you can see the delightful conversation we're about to have. But if you don't fancy YouTube, we're also now on Rumble, so you can head on over there and make sure you click the subscribe, like, follow, share, whatever you can. It means more than you know, but let's get into it.
So today, guest for today is my little cousin, the youngest guest so far, / half-step model, TikTok star in some of Ash's videos, and yeah, that's about it, isn't it, really?
Renowned TikTok star in my videos.
Yeah, exactly. So welcome to the show, Owen.
Thank you.
Cue round of applause. So you really need to get better at this. We need to make the guests feel really included. Thanks for coming on, big man.
It's alright. Just been waiting for this moment for quite long now for you to ask me.
Did you think it was never going to come?
I actually thought one day you were going to ask me.
Was you getting to the point where you was like, if we don't ask you soon, you're going to be too big for the podcast to come on?
Pretty much.
So if you needed to know anything about Owen, you've learned everything you need to know right there.
You can tell that Owen and Josh are related.
Yeah, the confidence and arrogance obviously runs in the family. So yeah, obviously
it's a little bit of a different episode that we thought we'd do today, wasn't it?
Yeah, mix it up a little bit.
I think Josh and I were sort of speaking about a while back on terms of getting guests on and who we want to speak to, and we've got a fantastic lineup of people that we've got episodes coming out. We've got episodes scheduled to film, but one in particular we thought would be really, really almost insightful for you watching, for you listening, is we talk a lot about half step and what we've done so far in the industry, especially for men and young boys in the industry, and it was a real chance to actually speak to someone who is close to you, who is in the industry from a younger age, but also there's a lot more to you, Owen. On you aren't sort of probably your stereotypical young lad that would get into riding potentially. It'll be interesting to have a bit of a conversation with you on how maybe some of like Josh's experiences growing up, if they're like similar at all to yours, even what your viewpoint is on the industry, and you might help us, but in turn what you say generally might actually help a lad your age listening, or his mum that's listening, that would then relay the information on what you may say. So don't be nervous, chill out, it's all fine, we'll guide you through it. It's just like a normal conversation that we have at a family barbecue. Just forget that there's thousands of people watching.
But it's also a very different perspective. A lot of our conversations touch on the past, whereas this is going to be a very now and present pod. So, obviously, I know your parents very well, obviously,
yes.
But completely non-horsey. So, why don't you explain to everyone how you came into the horses?
I came into this because there's always been yard parties at my auntie's yard, and I see everyone ride, and I'm like, I want to be like them one day. So I started going up there, helping her muck out. Then I started getting the chances to ride her oldest horse, Amani, and since then I've came to here.
So you've touched on it there, that you used to go up the yard and muck out, right?
Yeah.
So for a lot of people listening, they would absolutely hate it, but I know like you love being up the yard and being around the horses. So you, touching on it, school isn't a huge interest for you. You find the attention side of things and you're not particularly enthusiastic about it, but there is something about being around horses or being in the environment of horses that it completely changes who you are as a person. So if you were having to explain that to someone, what about being on the yard, just doing normal things on the yard, inspires you or just changes the way that you are and behave?
It just like makes you feel happy, and like I don't know, I just changed because like I sitting at home, sitting in school, I feel bored. Like as soon as I come to the yard, it's like a happy place for me, and like it's love where I spend in time.
Yeah. It's almost like when you find something you love, it's like that saying, like if you love what you do for work, you'll never work a day in your life. And I guess it's sort of like that same principle. And I just want to like use an example just to reiterate what Josh said about how much the horses actually do, and like when you focus into it, how accurate that statement is that you change, because you're an amazing young lad regardless, but you are a practical joker on one side, and I completely get it, because I was exactly the same in school. I hated school. I was always trying to wind everyone up. I was quite loud, quite mouthy, and at the back end of 2022, half step, we did our second year at London International Horse Show, and though the company is doing amazing and it is growing, we still, like what we mentioned on the last episode, we are still very reliant on family, friends, people around us dragging that in. And one of those people that came to our aid in the setup and also the takedown was you. And we sort of had this pre-panic attack of going, will Owen behave? Yeah, I think Owen will behave. Will Owen say anything bad? Will Owen get us kicked out? Will Owen be the downfall of
To be
half step?
fair, he nearly did get us kicked out, but not for the reasons that we initially thought.
No, we will come on to that. But you shocked Josh and I, and me personally, because I haven't been around horses my whole life, but how much your demeanour and change and your attention to focus. And it was like you were grafting on a trade stand for, it was probably actually maintenance and shit and doing child labour, but it was almost like you weren't working, like, and we weren't. I just want to put it for the record, we weren't putting a young lad on our stall to work a long day. He was helping set up, but whatever we needed, the amount of the stress, we need this, we need to get this up, we've got no time, boom, it was honestly, it was amazing to see.
Thank you.
That's a gold star for you, Owen.
Yeah, it was talking you up there, really. But yeah, no, it was quite funny because I think you went back to the van to grab something for the setup.
I was just about him getting us nearly kicked out.
And then next thing you know, like, one of the security guys at London International is like collared him, and he was like, you need to be like 18 to be on behind the scenes and being part of the setup. So he had the audacity to tell him that he was 18 years old and just doubled down on being 18 years old.
It was impressive. It was impressive. And I want to state for the record, we had no understanding of this rule.
No.
There was nothing that not that it isn't in a contract. I just didn't read it. So we had no understanding of that. And it would have been worse for us to have left a 13-year-old child
In the van.
in the van with no way home for the next couple of hours. I just want to state that for the record.
Bear in mind, do you remember when we heard from one of the other trade stands that the child got stolen when their car got stolen at the trade show?
Oh, yeah, the sweet guys on the stand. Yeah.
Yeah. So that did put us off leaving you in the car.
Yeah, that was probably an element of not.
I would have been quite scared, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, we did you a favour by not letting you get stolen in the van, Owen, in fairness. Yeah, so you're welcome for
Thank
keeping
you.
you safe. But yeah, it is interesting to see from your perspective, like how much the horses have been. So what age did you start getting into horses?
Probably like 6 or 7.
6 or 7. So you've been doing it for a fair few years now.
Yeah.
And you did our junior shoot last week with Charlie.
Yeah.
And one of the comments Charlie come back with, I'm just going to big you up really, like, continuously. One of the comments Charlie said to me when I got home was, I was surprised at how good and professional Owen was, but also when I'd say, could you do this for the horse, he was like, he knew what he was doing, and it was almost like he zoned into it and he did it with such care. And that's what I find so interesting with you and to find out from you is at what level of attention to detail have you got into that industry now? That is it because of there's so much at school that you just go, I can't be arsed with it, or just growing up that you're like, this is the only thing I can focus on? Is that the main thing that really sort of drew you into an escape, I guess?
Yeah, pretty much. Just like I wouldn't have been able to do it and like know how to do it without you two.
Oh, thanks, man.
I wouldn't have had a clue how to do my poses, stand there. Yeah.
But it's obviously the horses is, even for example, the other sports that you do, it's a completely different side to you.
Yeah.
The completely different side that everyone that knows you is shocked by, right? So I know you touched on it like a little bit earlier on in the conversation about, but if you had to literally just hand on heart describe what the horses is and what they do for you, what is that?
Like they're just amazing. Like I can't really like describe. Like they just make me happy. Like
so, what is it different? For example, if we're comparing to a dog, why not a dog? Why a horse?
Just like same thing again. Just love them. Like I don't spend time with dogs as much as I do with horses.
No.
So that's why I'd say horses like the best things in my world, pretty much.
Do you feel like you're almost calmer around them?
Yeah, I'm much calmer.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that you're calmer when you're around them.
So what is it you want to get into? Is it like show jumping, dressage? What was really...
So when I was like first started getting into it, I was around racehorses a lot with my auntie and I wanted to be a jockey. Like growing up, getting my own ponies, like shares, loans, I wanted to start becoming like doing some jumping, and then from then I just want to be a show jumper and like do modelling with you guys, TikToks.
Yeah. You want to be like the modern day equestrian show jumper, which I think we tell people is the best way to be essentially, or get along the lines of.
Yeah, 100%. But you've touched on it there that you have 2 show ponies at the moment.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the ponies that you have.
I've got a 10-2 Dartmoor. He's the pony that I ride, and then there's a little Shetland for my little brother.
Yep.
And he's just coming back into work, and I've been doing like jumping courses in the field with Marley, and just been up there like pretty much wanted to go up there every single day.
Yeah. We had this conversation when I last saw you last weekend, but again, there's not many boys on your yard. There's no other boy on the yard.
There's not a boy on that yard.
And you've been at numerous yards now, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And again,
not a boy except like boys that come up to ride people's horses. There's no one that's got a pony there, horse.
Okay, so what we've touched on there is that it's very unique for a guy of your age.
Yeah.
Firstly, to be doing what you're doing. Secondly, obviously, we know that you have a lot of other interests. You like your scooter, you like your football. So you do very ordinary things that you would expect someone of your age to do.
Yeah.
And then you have, to a certain extent, a completely different life off of the horses.
Yeah.
So you're in year 8 now, going into year 9. How has that been? Obviously, you've started posting on social media. You've appeared in some of our photo shoots. You've appeared on Ash's social media. Stuff that I wouldn't have done at your age. Mm-hmm. I hid the fact that I had anything to do with the horses. I remember, do Sackfield still do a newsletter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I got a photo put in there and I didn't know how, and I was freaking out. So I hated anyone knowing that I rode horses, right? So how has that gone down? Because obviously your friends have seen you on social media with doing around the horses. How is that been received by your peer group at school?
Like, they do joke about it. Like, they say call me names and stuff like that, but like they joke, but they don't know like how it actually feels. And like, if they keep saying like I'm never gonna stop, like it's gonna be a thing that I'm doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And like they say stuff, I just like brush it away and carry on what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I relate to you. Well, we both do, but from where I can is, as you know, I trained as an actor, and we all went to the same school. I then moved and went and did 4 years at Brit School. Thank God, because I hated the school I was at.
Cheers.
Yeah, sorry I left you guys there. But it was like my friends. It wasn't like I was getting bullied, but it was my friends that, and it comes down to maturity, and it's not on their own fault that they hadn't grown up enough to realise how things come across, or how that leaves a little bit of a dent in someone, and they go back and think about it. Or you may just be having a really bit of an off day, and it sticks a bit more. I could have an off day and Josh could say something about business, go, this needs to be done, and it's nothing personal, but I might go a little bit, what? I can't believe you just said that, because I just feel a little bit off that day, and it all is a little bit gauged on emotion, how you feel, etc. So I understand how you feel that when they come from friends, it is that brush off thing, but it does probably get to you a little bit.
Yeah, like obviously it'll stay there forever, and like they're not going to change until they're in year 10. They're going to keep saying stuff until they're in year 10, and like,
Why year 10?
because that's when they like properly mature, and like,
Okay.
What makes you think? Why do you think that?
because year 9s are saying it to me. So
Yeah.
by the time we're in year 9, do you think it's going to change?
Well, what if I was to put the alternative out, is with what Josh and I still do with social media, we get not as much hate as what we do because our content has changed, but we still have quite a lot of people that give us grief, is probably the easiest way of putting it.
Yeah, it was like on the YouTube short or whatever. So we were talking. I can't even remember who it was with now, but it was on about being an influencer. Right?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
It was being an influencer, and someone influencer. I think it might have been Dean LM. Actually, shout out Dean LM. And we were touching on being an influencer, and like, I can't even remember what we were talking about, but someone replied to that saying, "You don't influence anything."
it was quite a funny comment. I quite liked it.
I was like, fair play. That was brutal, but amazing. But yeah, no, even now I still get hate, no matter what we do. We always do. No matter what we do, there will always be people that try and put us down. But then at the same time, I sent the screenshots to him actually earlier about something going on, and we decided that we're going to do something. And she literally was like, "Oh my God, you two are my role models." Like a proper fangirl. And you're like, that's pretty crazy, because you're going to get that no matter what, right? Year 11, year 12, year 13, you'll still get stick for riding horses, because I did. That will never change. But what may happen, well, will happen, depending on what you do, is that you'll get to a stage where you still see friends when you've left school, about my age, when you're like 21, 22, and they will be jealous of you doing something that you enjoy and you love.
Yeah.
And that is where, for example, you will get your laugh. So for all the stick that they've given you, and you can't really say anything back because they'll never understand, but when they're doing something that they don't enjoy, that's when you get to laugh.
Yeah, I without sort of repeating exactly what Josh has just said, I think the point I was trying to get is, it with age, it doesn't change. It does a little bit, because I think people do have that maturity. You'll leave school and people have kids or get married and they get jobs and they struggle with mortgages and they have the stress of money coming in, and that grows them up enough to not be a certain way inclined. But it doesn't change. When we had our first sort of wave on social media, we had people that were our age still sort of, you'd get the comment, and I think it becomes it's not down to just at that point where it's your age, it is generally like life experience. People aren't mature enough. Some people just don't get out of that maturity stage. They think of it like the high school jock scenario, right? So you've got a guy that goes there, he's the quarterback, everyone loves him, he gets the head cheerleader, is amazing, he's the king of the school, but he's dreadful at school, terrible grades, doesn't get the right grades to get into his next like football college or NFL college or whatever, comes out, has to get a really normal job, and then he sees the geek go on to make millions and get all the pretty women afterwards, etc. He mentally is still stuck at that level. So I think the sort of almost bit of trying advice we can give to you is, I wouldn't stress on, maybe in year 10 they won't say things, or maybe they'll understand it a little bit better. It'll only be a case of how you deal with it is the one coming forward.
Yeah, completely. Because if you're not bothered by it, then they'll stop.
I don't really care, so they can keep saying what they want. They think that I'm taking it in. Like, obviously I do take it in, but like, I don't really care. Like, it's something I love and just makes me happy.
Has any of your friends shown any interest in you riding at all?
Yeah, some of them.
Some of them?
Yeah.
Okay. So like, in what aspects have they shown interest?
Like, I'll say, I'm going to yard, I'll come out after.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'll come with you.
Oh, so they do come to yard with you?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's like 2 of my best mates.
Right, and how have they... So I assume these are boys as well, yeah? So 2 of your boy best mates from school, they've come to your yard. And has the perception of you riding changed?
Like when they're at the yard, like, it's nice seeing my best mate there.
Yeah.
And when like they're watching me, it just makes me feel like, oh yeah, I want to do this. Like, I want to like get over this jump.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, I don't know, they just support me.
Okay. And has their opinion on what you do changed from seeing you doing what you're doing and being on the yard?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was their initial like feeling towards you riding, and how has that changed from being around them?
Like, they've never said one little word to me.
No, never.
No.
Never. So they've always been fully supportive.
Yes.
It shows that you've got very 2 loyal friends in that aspect.
You're very, very lucky. Yeah, very lucky in that situation. What we'll do is we'll 100% you get their sizes, and we'll chuck them a base layer. So when they come up to the right to watch you ride, they can wear something that is equestrian. They can feel part of it, and also they can go play football in it. And then hopefully they will then also go back to school and be like, "This is sick. This is like an equestrian brand. This is a horse brand. How good is this?" So afterwards, after you're back from Portugal, yeah, we'll sort that.
Some of my mates like do wear my base layers. I'm like, let's go out, and he's
for real?
Yeah, he's like, oh, let me chuck this on. And I'll just let him wear it, and
Nice.
like, it doesn't feel comfortable. It's like, it just feels like a tracksuit. Like, it feels like a night dry fit.
Well, you are literally wearing our breeches right now, to
Yeah,
be
'cause
fair.
they're the comfiest things in the world.
We did force him to wear them.
Yeah, we've actually got everyone involved now in a really genius marketing paid advertisement for Half Step. But it is, let's go down that route, because it is quite for you growing up was quite an issue, hence why we did the company.
You've got like before and after, haven't you? You've got before where I never had anything to ride in. Literally like skin tight leggings.
Since these have been there, I've worn them every single time I've gone up the yard. I've not got a pair of jodhpurs anymore. Like,
yeah, which is fantastic, obviously, because we did hit decent right there.
Yeah, we got there in the end.
But I think a big thing that I want to touch on is, realistically, that is where half step gets a weird perception, I think, from a lot of people, because they can't seem to understand our demographic. And our demographic is sat right here. Like, obviously, what you're wearing when you're training and everything, you're casual, you don't need to be in these really expensive jodhpurs when you're lounging around on the sofa right now, and when me and Sophie picked you up early, you're on the scooter causing havoc down your neighbourhood in your breeches, which is fantastic.
Probably
really
bad marketing for us.
Yeah, that's you're our demographic. You're the type of boy that is doing this, doing that. That you can wear them wherever. Like you say, I don't think you'd ever before have been out on your scooter in your neighbourhood in jodhpurs.
Never. Wouldn't like even think about going out in jodhpurs. Now I've got these. I go out every single day pretty much in these. Like, now I've like just now since I've got these, they've just been like comfiest things I've probably got in my wardrobe.
Love that. Absolutely love that. But now we'll take that into your riding, right? So obviously we've touched on it a little bit. You've got your 2 ponies. So what are you doing right now with them? And give us a little bit of detail for the people listening, who and what your ponies are, how long you've loaned them for, etc., etc. So just give a little bit of background information about them all.
So one of them's called Marley, the other one's called Rio. They're probably 10-2 and probably like quite a small Shetland.
Yeah.
Like small. And my little brother's just like wanting to walk and trot and says faster, faster, faster every time he gets on it. But as soon as he gets into canter, he knows what it means. And all I want to do is my one is just get out there, compete, and just have fun.
What's your goal? If you was to put, say, right, I want to do show jumping. What, if people want to be footballers, I want to win the Premier League or the Champions League, or have you got anything that you go, that's what I want to do?
Like, I'd love to compete at Hickstead, like in the main arena. That would be my dream.
The derby.
Yeah.
I would actually pay more attention if you were jumping in the derby.
To be fair, you'd hope that also your freaking girlfriend, bruv.
Oh, she was jumping in. I'd 100% be paying attention. 100%. I think, yeah. Of course, I'll be paying attention.
That's gonna get cut. But yeah, that is amazing. And obviously, you don't have anyone in the family to look up to in that regard, because it's definitely not me. But it's quite funny that you touched on the derby, because the previous guest from the episode that would have come out by now would be Frankie, who came on, and he actually was competing in the speed derby, and we actually asked him about the bank, because obviously that bank is massive.
It looks quite scary.
Yeah, I know, literally. And he was talking about how looking down, you're just literally petrified of it. But with the show jumping side of things, so what are you doing now?
I've probably like the last month, because as I only got him about 2 months ago, just like getting to know him in these 2 months, and like getting to know, like get our bond, and then I'll start trying to jump him and like get like better. Yep. And yeah.
So are you having lessons, or are you doing this by yourself at this moment in time?
So at the moment I'm doing it on my own, but like once I've done the jumping and he can do it, he goes straight for a jump. Yep. Like, because at the minute he's like trying to refuse stuff, and like, but he's just like a typical pony that
cheeky.
Yeah.
Love that. But you got matching personalities there. But obviously, again, we've spoken about it previously. You done a photo shoot for Half Step last Saturday, but you told me that you were going to be at the. I think it might be your dad's. You were at the yard all day on Sunday.
Yeah.
What do you do on the yard all day on Sunday?
Bear in mind, that's your 2 days away from school. There's a hellhole, so you want to go and do it. Spending, stereotypically, would love people to just sit and play PS4, PS5, whatever it is now. And
I've got a PS4. Like, it doesn't really show me interest anymore since going to horses. And like when I get to the yard on a Sunday, I get on my pony, tack him up, groom him, all of that, and then I take him straight down to the field, go for like a nice gallop. On our way back up, there's some cross country jumps, and he goes straight for the cross country jumps. But when it's in the school, bright coloured jumps, he's like, "Nah, I ain't doing that," and he will try and refuse and like do anything he possibly can to not get over that jump.
Have you fallen off him yet?
No, but I land on his back twice.
When jumping?
What?
When jumping?
Yeah.
Have you fallen off at all yet?
I have fell off, yeah.
Yeah, was it a bad fall?
Not really, just a horse stops at the jump and then he'd jump it. It's like over jump and then I just come over his neck.
That sounds like a bad fall in my head. I'm thinking, I'd hate that.
Yeah, it's a bit whiplashy because you stop then start.
Yeah, I've seen people do that when we was at Hickstead, and it sort of went. It's that like stop motion, so you go backwards, then it goes forward, and then it sort of like repels you. Just going back a bit, I wanted to try and interject, but we went on different stories. We went at the right time. You mentioned about Josh and I sort of looking up to us and stuff that we've done, and then Josh jokingly onward said, well, I'm not a role model, etc. The question I have is, one of the things we have in conversation with each other is we do what we do because there isn't many male role models. There's a lot of men at the top of the industry, and I can't hand on heart say every single one of them are either the best role model or as engaged enough to care to be a role model. There's a lot of responsibility that comes with social media, or even if you're Marcus Rashford, you may not be necessarily wanted to be social media famous. You're a professional footballer. There comes a lot of responsibility with that. So the question I have is there anyone actually that you look up to as a role model?
When I was younger, I did look up to Frankie Dettori. I wanted to be him one day. And then started moving, and then it was Joe Stockdale, and then it was like the Whitakers, and just don't really have a role model. Like, I want to be the role model one day.
Oh, I like that answer.
That was hard.
That was a strong answer. That was really strong. What was it about the Stockdales and the Whitakers that?
I don't know. Just he's got a massive yard, all them horses, just a nice place, and it just looks the best place.
And he's got that name as well. That means so much as well, doesn't
so essentially, you can see how much hard work, say, Joe Stockdale puts into what he does, and you can probably, I guess, from your side, appreciate how hard it is just to do at your level what you're doing with the amount you're doing. You could probably look at that and sort of go, to do that is so difficult, to run that entire thing and train the horses, and they have, I assume, grooms as well that do it, and riders, but to manage that essentially and then go and compete them. I imagine, so you probably look up to him, for example, and go, yeah, that's difficult to do. I rate that.
Like when we were at Olympia, I wished it was me jumping his horses. It's just looks amazing. It looks just so fun. Say got clear round, you just going around the thing. At the end, say you came first, cantering around the ring. It just looks
the lap of honour.
Yeah.
Well, here is a public call out to Joe Stockdale. We have a very young fan here that wants to meet you. So I expect you to get in contact with us to organise him to come up and meet you and see your yard. No one's done a public call out like this, so this will be clipped. We demand a response in 48 hours.
That would be my dream.
Well, there you go. We'll make it happen. Don't make it happen.
So, do you want to do this as a hobby or a career?
Both.
Both. Okay, interesting. How are you going to achieve both? So, how is it going to still be a hobby for you if it's your job?
Just because, I don't really know, because a hobby, it's horse riding, and that's what I want to do.
Yeah, okay. So
did you hear yourself breathing into a mic?
I don't know why I did that, but so you're saying even though that's your job, you'll still have the love for your riding that you always had.
Yeah.
Okay, that's very interesting, because obviously, again, I started like you. It was a hobby for me, but when it became a job for me, I didn't enjoy it anymore. I hated it.
Yeah.
As you know, because you were told, but I hated it when it became a job for me.
It's a lot of work and looks hard work, because you're going up to help, go and ride someone's horses, and it's one of the naughtiest horses. It's probably a bit stressful, and yeah.
Yeah, so for me, it was never the horses, it was dealing with the people in the industry that I found difficult. Yeah. Which is where looking back, I wasn't able to look after myself in the industry well, which is why I massively struggled. And obviously I'm not sat here trying to put you off doing it, but for me, I've learnt the most successful people in this industry have made money either in it, a lot of money, or have a lot of money from outside the industry. So, for example, they have gone off, they've ridden and then made their money in other businesses or other avenues and then come back to ride.
That's probably what I want to do. Like, I'd prefer to have a job, like, with my hands. Like, that's another good thing that I love doing, like, going to work with my dad, just helping out.
Yeah, you do.
Actually, on that point, another point to point out for you, and it's, again, for people who are listening, like, one, the dedication that you have for horses as a young lad, but also to other young lads that are listening, that or to people that aren't horsey and listening and trying to understand what this industry means to younger people and how far they'll go to stay in it. You also do a post round. You do
paper round.
You do paper round, post round. I can't remember what it's. All right, okay, calm down. All right.
Post round.
I can't speak correctly. It's been a long day.
He's not the Royal Mail, but the paper round.
Yeah, I've got to remember.
Did you take your scooter for that now?
Yes.
No, it's all right. Well, let's make it a little bit more sad music so it sounds more. You used to walk around doing your paper round, and your paper round. Bear in mind, I assume you're on £27 an hour.
I wish.
You got paid very, very little per hour, don't you? But that is what you use to pay to do the horses, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, on these two ponies, we don't have to pay because the lady, all she needs is help because she just had her newborn.
Right.
Yeah. So, like, I'm quite lucky for that.
Was there any time when you was doing the paper round, the post round, that is so early, you've got school, you're the rest of it, and you think, why am I doing this?
My mum walked into my room, Owen, get up, it's time to go. I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting up now. And I fall back to sleep. And then I've almost been sacked from a job for doing that.
You sound like a 28-year-old man. That's amazing. What was their reaction the first time when, especially your dad, when you told him like that's what you were going to get into, that's what you were doing, and
What, the paper round or the horses?
the horses? The paper round, he was probably like, thank God, get up and go, get out my house.
He probably was. I can't remember. I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't the best like reaction
Oh, really?
I got from my dad.
I remember I was literally with him when you went and saw those two ponies, and he was like, I'm just gonna burn a hole in my pocket, aren't I? And I was like, yeah, you've really chosen the wrong sport to get him involved in.
Yeah.
Because especially when he found out there was two of them that you were looking at, he was not happy.
We, I don't know if I can really say this, but it never happened, but I don't think we ever told you. Josh and I at one point were looking at getting you a horse.
You actually?
Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. I spoke to Auntie Em about it and everything.
Yeah, and we weren't going to like go and buy you a 70 grand Joe Stockdale horse, but no, there was an opportunity for a horse that needed to like potentially be like rehomed for a bit, etc. And it was a good horse, really, really good horse. I can't remember why it didn't. I think it just wasn't the right fit. It wasn't the right time. Yeah. That was it. It wasn't the right time. But I want you to know that's how much we care, Owen, that we nearly got you a horse.
It's gone to my heart, I did.
Yeah, people wouldn't have liked it, the field we took it out of, but they were never.
We were not stealing a horse categorically. We do not need that clipped and put against us.
No, the gate was just open.
Oh dear. But obviously, like there's been times where I gave you a lesson a while ago, didn't I?
Yeah.
That was ages ago now. You came and sat on Owen, didn't you? Did I give you a lunge? What did we do?
Gave me a lunge.
Lunge lesson. Did I take away your stirrups?
Pardon?
Did I take away your stirrups?
I think the last like 10 minutes you did, and it was painful.
What does that do?
Balance.
Oh right, but why is it difficult with that? Oh well, I imagine because you've got nothing to.
Yeah, nothing to like counterweight your balance.
Right.
So it really helps, obviously, because if you lean one way too much, you're gonna slide over.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that actually. That was on Owen. That was so long ago now. Owen riding Owen.
I don't know.
That was when you were just sort of like getting into it seriously then, weren't you? Mm-hmm. This was when you were riding Auntie M's horse, Omani. Mm-hmm. So for you, obviously, these two ponies are your second loan pony?
Yeah.
So you've now had, well, along the lines of now I know they're owned by someone else and you're helping out or what have you, but you've got more responsibility in regards to exercising them. Yeah. And stuff like that. So what is a week like for you now that you've got these two low ponies?
So I do Tuesday and Friday and whatever other days I want, like when my mum can take me up there. And when I get to the yard, first thing we do is muck out. Ponies are like out in the field because they go out in the day. And then I'm like, Mum, I'm going to go and bring them in now. I'll go and grab them. And then Rio, whenever my brother wants to ride, like he'll get, like, we like tie him up outside the stables. And then we both groom and then get the saddle on and ride. I do that every single time I go up there, ride. And my brother's just occasionally when he wants to. Yeah, when he wants to. Yeah.
Yeah, so are you exercising those Shetlands as well when your brother isn't? Yeah. Okay.
Get a lunge.
Yep. Okay, so you're lunging?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, so you're lunging as well. So you're having to ride one horse and lunge one horse, right? So, being 13 years old and you have the responsibility that you do to look after that horse. Right, so it's your job that you've got to go up and exercise that horse on that day and lunge it. Obviously, your mum won't mind me saying this, but she isn't horsey. It's not really. No,
when she was younger, she was.
Yeah, she was, but she sort of leaves you to do it. Yeah. Is there an element of pressure that you feel when you're doing it at all? That these horses, like if you're taking that, like for example, you have spoken about with your horse that
I sort of get what the point you're coming at, and it's quite a good one.
That is spooky and you're having to teach it, right? Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel like I could mess this up? I could go right? Okay. So in what ways?
Say like we're going to jump and he trips. Yeah. And then he falls and then gets up and like he's holding up his hoof like that. Yeah. It's just like you think, oh, like what have I done? And then you start getting like anxious, nervous. And you're like, it's not my horse, and the owner's gonna get angry, and like, but like you take more responsibility from other people's horses than your own. Yeah, that's what I feel.
Yeah. Well, it's the same with anything. Realistically, you always try and treat something else better when it's someone else's rather than your own. But again, obviously you've explained a situation that happened or has happened.
Never happened.
But okay, explain the situation.
Just to have that out there.
Yeah, just that didn't happen. But you touched on that, you make you nervous, anxious, etc., etc. But what other situations are you having to like deal with when you're doing this? Because it's all still new to you and you're learning. Yeah. That you've got that pressure of obviously it being owned by someone else, but what are they teaching you?
The horses?
The horses, yes.
Like, it's teaching me how to look after a horse and what to do, and like, it's like the first time I've properly like actually had like my own two ponies and they feel like they're mine, and they're just like, I just pretty much like teach myself like this is what I got to do every time, and like when they come in, check them all over and make sure they're all alright. And yeah.
Do you feel like any of those skills that or like those life things that you've learned from being around horses and the responsibility of having to do all of that, is there anything you can think of for an answer that you feel like you may be able to transfer those skills into like your day-to-day life, or as you get older you'll be able to use them? There isn't a right or wrong answer.
I don't really know.
It was basically, what has horses taught you?
Oh, they've taught me like how to do stuff pretty much. Like what, like say you're looking after like your nan and she's old. It's teaching me how to look after someone pretty much.
So it's essentially taught you affection.
Yeah.
And I guess like for you, Josh, was amongst everything about life. For you, I would say for you, it taught you very much about understanding emotions. And I don't mean that in a way that it comes across, but you can elaborate on that one too.
There is a bond that you have with horses because you can't talk to them. They can't tell you what's wrong. So you have to pick up on their demeanour and how they're acting and behaving. Like, for example, knowing your horses, what their normality is. So you'll know if there's a change in their behaviour.
Yeah.
So that is where you learn a lot from what the horse gives back to you and sort of an aura they give off. And I can then lead this into a question for you. So being a guy, obviously I'm sure that you have your bad days.
Yeah.
And your good days. What are the horses for you on a bad day?
Probably like when like say something's happened to them, that would like.
But more, okay, I get that, but more as in you've had a really bad day at school, right?
Yeah.
You've gone up the yard, you're around the horses. How are they? Do they make you feel? Do they make your mood better?
Yeah.
Or, for example, if you're feeling really sad, and as a boy you might not want to tell your friends you're feeling really, really sad, but you're around your horses, by being around them, what does that do for you?
Makes me happy, and like it'll make my day be the best part of my day. From like say they do something funny or something like that, it'll just like make my day. If you get what I mean.
Yeah, completely. So you're because where I'm taking this is I did a lot of charity work for a foundation which is called the Emil for a Foundation, right? And that takes sort of inner city children from disadvantaged backgrounds, sort of like Manchester, like real inner city places, and bringing them around horses like really, really helps them. So what I'm trying to say is, what is the message that you could give to someone that doesn't have anything to do with horses, is one of your friends from school or something, but what is it that horses gives to you?
Happiness, and like they do just cheer you up. Like say all the ponies I've had, they've always like made me cheer up, even if they're being a bit cheeky. Like it's just like, say, coming back to you, like if you've had a bad day, they will cheer you up. They will like.
Yeah, there's a demeanour
up.
and something about them that yeah, being in nature is very relaxing. So it can be taken away from that situation where it's not a job for me. I can understand why people find it very peaceful and can really I can see the benefits of why these inner city children get a lot from being around horses.
Well, yeah, especially not having the countryside at all.
Absolutely, it's the whole
Yeah, and I mean, I get it because like, I wasn't brought up around horses, and yes, I sort of come from a country-ish background, but like we'd go walk dogs in the field, and I'd think nothing more. Oh, there's horses in the field there. I wouldn't think much more about it because I didn't go and speak. I didn't speak to them, but do you know what I mean? I didn't call them over. I just thought there's horses in the field. And it wasn't until I sort of started going up the yard, and I even said to Josh, this was years ago now, which is weird, really weird to say, I came back at the exact day, and first time I'd actually spent a bit of time around horses, I was like, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Just being around it, because they have more personality. And I think it is the personality and intelligence than you expect, or more than what the general public know that they do that aren't involved in it.
Yeah, and I think it's also the power that they possess as well. Like, I think that makes it more powerful, it being these huge animals that are controlled if that makes sense. It's like different to dogs. You have a very different bond with horses than you do dogs. I've never had a dog, so it's very difficult.
Well, you haven't seen a man jump a Great Dane over 1.60 m because he's quite impressive.
That would be impressive. But I think it is a very different relationship that you have with horses in comparison to a dog or a cat or a hamster or a turtle or a tortoise or whatever people now have as a pet. And I think that's what I'm trying to get the message across, is how beneficial horses have been for you. Like, there has been a whole different side that those animals have naturally opened up to a boy of your age that you probably wouldn't associate with a boy of your age.
No.
And that is the biggest thing that we've noticed in you being in those environments, how different it does make you. And also, it's probably a question that we'd love to put out to the viewers listening, is from probably parents, best to say, because it's a lot easier, is with children growing up, do you notice a big difference in the way that your child is around the horses? Because I know for a fact my mum and dad are thankful that I was around horses and that it was like a lifestyle commitment that it kept me out of trouble. Yeah. Because I wasn't spending my spare time uptown getting in a load of trouble.
That's exactly what my parents say to me.
Yeah. It'll be the best thing to do is stay in horses, because for people, well, we're related, but for people with our personality and behaviour, we're very good at certain things but terrible at others. And you're very similar. If you enjoy what you're doing or you're passionate or you want to do something, that's fine. But if you don't want to do something, then you've got real issues. So yeah, good luck, mate.
Just maybe like this will either be. I've got two lines of questioning that I don't know which, if we're going to get them both in. So because I'm not rushing on either of them. So I'll pick one and then it might be the wrap. I wonder if we have time for the next one. We'll chuck it in. The one I do really want to get in is from a young lad who has got a long journey, a fruitful journey ahead of yourself in horses, the industry, potentially going making it a professional career, etc. We're already in age-wise quite deep into it now. Yeah. We might as well have our pension coming out soon. Nice. We're trying to change certain things, but from a young lad's perspective, when you look up at the state of the industry, and that's quite a broad statement, but like how the industry looks, like how it operates, how it works. From a young lad's perspective, what do you think about that?
And why isn't there more of you?
Because people do think that horse riding is for like gay people, when like they think, oh, if I get into horse riding, I'm gonna get said all these words and like. But when I got into it, I never really thought of that, and like people do say stuff like that, but I don't really care again. Yeah,
so that terminology is used as a derogatory term to offend you when the people at your school are saying that. And that is the perception of people in your school that think that. Because obviously as you get older, you've got a different opinion. But I completely relate to that, because the same thing was said to me. And it's funny, isn't it? Because I've openly spoken about it previously. And then it came, like, I have made loads of friends that in the industry that have different sexuality, and it's been amazing for me. Absolutely amazing to meet different people from different backgrounds. And I've got friends that are lesbians, gay, whatever, different sexualities, what have you. And I've been very lucky to be able to be in an industry that's so accepting of that. But when I was talking about my experiences through education and how the term gay was used to offend me, it then was taken in the completely wrong context, that people were saying that I think it's bad, and it's not. Because even if I was gay in that situation, it was still being used in a harmful context and being still said in the wrong way. And to offend me in that, and that is why it becomes so hurtful to have that stereotyped at you for riding, because it's being used in such a horrible way by young children that don't understand the meaning and haven't got the learning capacity to understand how horrible that is. And I can understand why that is so hard for the numerous guys that are going through that stage where you're 13, 14, your hormones are all over the place, you're unsure where you are with everything. And it's awful because you're not the first person to tell me that. I've experienced it. We had Frankie that we touched on it slightly.
Yeah.
With the last podcast, we have numerous young lads that come onto the stand that do ride like yourselves, but there's not enough of you. And like you say, you've touched on it there. That's probably why, is because of that stereotype that's associated by your school peers, which is extremely unfortunate.
I think as well, it's probably because I had the same thing with the acting side, and I don't think the term of people saying you're gay or you're gay for riding horses, I don't think it's the term. Yes, it's insulting, but I don't think it's the fact that's hurtful about it is the fact that they're using it as a sexuality thing. It's probably more irritating. So for me, I found it, I couldn't care less about what the term actually was, because in the industry, I'm around loads of people from different, like you said, from different sexualities and backgrounds. It's more the irritating fact of like someone saying, Owen, you've got pink hair because you play football. And you're like, well, that's just not true. No. You've got pink hair because you play football. And you're like, my hair's brown, mate. Like, I'm literally here. Like, and then they keep going. It's more like, right, you're irritating me now, and it's stupid. Like, it's brown, and what does that have any relevance to do with playing football? And I think that's where I found that it wasn't the term. It was more the irritating of like how stupid it comes from the place. That's what I found.
I think it's everyone, like each their own, isn't it, on that situation. For me, at that time, I took it, the way they were using it was to put me down and belittle me as a person for it. And that's how I took that in that moment. Obviously now, it doesn't affect me because I really don't care what people's opinions are. But I can imagine there'll be people of Owen's age that experience it like you do.
Yeah.
And there'll be people that experience it like me because you're just a young child that don't really understand, and you're getting thrown this at you because of a sport that you love and you choose to do.
I want any lad that's watching this is a mainstream lad, yeah. This like pre-fame Justin Bieber over here, yeah. I want you to know is in an industry that is dominated by women. I just want to leave that with you. And that's the best thing about it, is like, we're not going to go into stories because the stories that we currently have are above your age rating, but you will be the one laughing at the end, which I think is the irony to all of that.
He's got like 10 girlfriends on the go.
No.
He's like, how stiff now? He's like, no, Becky and Rachel don't know about each other. You're not supposed to say that.
That was not true.
How many girlfriends have you got on the go line?
Too many, no.
You're Josh. You are Josh to a T. That's amazing. Last sort of roundup comment from you, Owen, is if this podcast has been listened to by a mum who has a lad that rides, or if it's been directly listened to by a lad that is a similar age to yourself, and is going through difficulty at school or trying to stay in the sport, doesn't quite know if he wants to do it still because of all the grief he gets, or someone that is interested about getting into it who's mainstream, a bit like yourself, that was like, I don't know, I like playing football, I don't know about the grief I'll get from it. What advice could you offer them from a strong, independent 13-year-old lad?
I would just say, like, no matter what anyone says, never give up on it. Like, it's such a good, like, sport, and, like, it's just, there is supportive people around you that are in the industry, but there's not as well. Like, there could be people that are jealous from you, like, jumping, like, a metre, and they're only jumping 90. They might get, like, jealous and get annoyed at you, and, like, but just don't listen to them and carry on.
Nice.
And never give up.
And what is your favourite clothing brand and why?
Half Step.
Where can they find Half Step?
At Half Step Performance.
Co. Calm, you're so close. And why is that your favourite clothing brand?
Because it's comfy, I can ride in it, I can go out, I can play football in it, I can ride my e-scooter on it.
Of course, the scooter.
I can sleep in it.
We do actually have people that come to the stand say sleep in it. Was that a good enough clip for you to use in the half step?
Yeah, that's perfect.
And last one, anyone that's listening, what's your social media so that you can grow your take your hand off of that mic, boy. I can hear it. I can see you wanting to like stroke the mic. No. What's your social media handles so people can find and watch your journey in horses?
It's mainly TikTok, so Owen_338.
Nice.
Geezer.
Episode 11.
Episode 11. Thank you so much for listening. I know it's been a little bit of a different episode. I think we both felt that it was an episode that was, we both really were quite insightful that we wanted to do and see what's come out of it. And I generally feel like this episode has offered a lot to people, and I don't think you will realise how much it has. I just want to say, from a non-blood family that we have going on here, and I think I speak for the both of us, we are both exceptionally proud of what you are doing, and you're exceptionally brave not only to do what you're doing, but to come on a platform like ours and talk to thousands of people. I know it's not necessarily thousands, but like the clips go out to loads and loads of people. You have done it knowing full well that your friends do watch us, they do see it, and they know you're coming on this. That takes balls. Like, I didn't have balls like that at that age.
No, I wouldn't have done this. I would not have done this. So fair play, man.
Sorry, I love as well doing this.
Well, thank you very much for listening. If you've been listening on Spotify, you can listen to it pretty much everywhere. Head over to YouTube if you fancy watching our incredibly 10 out of 10 faces deliver this podcast. Rumble. We are on Rumble, as we keep saying. So wherever you fancy watching it, please make sure you go over. And the biggest thing, we've seen loads of it and it means the world to us, is people are sharing the clips to their stories. They're just reposting it on TikToks. It gets the word out about the podcast and it helps us grow. So we really appreciate all the support that we are receiving so far. And we have got an incredible lineup of guests. Coming up.
Yeah,
so,
we do. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. Looking forward to delivering them. Owen, thanks, big man, and we will catch you on the next one. Peace. Oh, nice one, buddy.